Hi everyone, I'm Paul, founder of Crunchable, and today I want to show you what Crunchable is all about. Over the last 10 years while running a startup studio, I've seen hundreds of founders, some with great ideas, others with even more fantastic products. But unfortunately, finance is something that most of us have to learn on the job. And in many cases, myself included, that meant making quite wrong decisions. Hiring too soon, pricing too low, running out of cash at the worst possible moments, and it happens so often. So this is why I built Crunchable, to help founders see the financial impact of the decisions that they make before they actually make them, without getting lost in spreadsheets that they actually do not understand, because that's a real issue, right? So Crunchable is a financial planning platform that gives you clarity on how your business actually runs. And I'm going to show you the key features. So I'm going to jump right in. And I think this is maybe the best starting point. At its core, Crunchable is really about modeling your business, not modeling a financial projection. So we use a business model canvas that you see here to kind of display what the different elements in that business are. And all of the things that you see here are actually mapped out by our AI. So this is a business model for Growth Getaway, an offsites company here in Erusaida that we also run. But it's incomplete right now. And I want to show you how easy it actually is to make additions to this. So in this instance, I think that I would like to have a look at some costs. So what I can do is I can just pull up the chat and talk about these costs. Can you help me model some costs? So sure, like it gives me all these different options of what I can do. I actually have something prepped. So I'm going to copy and paste those, right? So I'm not going to go into all of these, but I do want to say like, hey, that I have some costs that I want to take into account. So some costs per team member for email, also website costs and some marketing budget. So let's just send it this and see what it does with it. Okay, so it breaks it down, gives me a bit of feedback on it. And now it wants to model the cost, but it also has a question like start dates of these costs, and especially for the office rent, as it depends on the reserve. So because this is an AI that actually understands your business, I can ask it all sorts of things. So I can also ask it, what do you think a good reserve would be? Typically depends on the business risks. So, and here you see it actually starts analyzing the business that it already has, right? So it says like, these are all your operational expenses that you have. It also maps out potential additional costs that I'm now just talking about. So it says that I would have an estimated total monthly expense of a mid-range of 10,000. So it says, it gives me the advice to actually keep a reserve of 3 to 6 months before I start adding additional costs. Let's say I'll go with 60K. So, all right, let's go with 6 months. Let's see what it models out now. Right, so it doesn't just plainly take whatever I input. It actually also helps me to understand what the implications are in this case. So like only add these rental costs if I'm actually able to sustain them with enough of a reserve actually. And these things make a huge difference. So there we go. You see that it actually mapped out all these different costs right there. And so these elements are now all part of my business model. So now it's time to move to another part of the product, which is the financials, because it does turn all of these, let's say, costs into actual financials, right? So here I see for software licenses that it added the website costs there, and also the email, for instance, and the email actually increases the moment when there's another person involved. I did not have to explain this. It understands that there's actually two people in the business. So first there's one, and then there's another one, and then the costs also increase, right? So the rent's also in there, and you can see all the different elements in my business case. Cash positions, the different income streams that we have, all the costs there, salaries and how they develop. Basically everything that you need to understand how your business flows. So with that, there's a final thing that I would like to show, which is a hiring plan. Why the hiring plan? Here you can actually see who's involved in the business and what kind of compensation they also get for it. It's quite important because I think the biggest cost for most companies actually come from the teams that they run. So let's say if I want to add someone to my team, I can again pull up the chat. I'll do a new one, and can say like, hey, can you model out hiring an offsite expert for the offsites that we run as a contractor, but only during the months where we have active offsites, because this is important, right? We have a contractor that we want to hire to help us when we're really busy. Let's see what it does. So let's see, it asks me all these questions about the role, monthly compensation, and what the active months are, also about different departments and contract types. But it already understands that it could be freelance. So let's say, let's look at compensation, about 2,500 per month, as it is not full time. And can you see a pattern for the offsites? Because I actually wanted to help me figure out what the patterns are, right? So it can tell me all sorts of different things. So it says like, hey, there's different revenue streams, and also there's different channel, which suggests that offsites are likely organized around certain months, right? So it tells me just by looking at the business model when I can expect to need this help. And it actually also immediately mapped out for those months this offsite expert. And I think this shows like how Crunchable is able to look at your business model and help you map out different aspects of the business that actually align with the other settings that you're making. So yeah, this is Crunchable. It's available right now. So if you would like to give this a spin, send me a message or enlist on the waiting list, and hopefully you'll start using the product soon.